Hello everyone, Jessica here, and I'm back with another scrapbook process video for you from Paper Issues Design Team. And today I am scrap lifting a layout from Kat Benjamin, and here's her beautiful, gorgeous layout. And I am going to start with 2 photos instead of 1 because I've been trying to challenge myself to do more layouts with more than just 1 photo on them. So I'm going to be using Amy Tangerine's Late Afternoon collection. So I'm using her 6x8, I believe, paper pad and all the embellishments too. So I am going to do some mixed media because I had a lot of requests for the last layout that I did similar to this, and I used mixed media instead of paper. So I'm going to show you how I did that. So what I do is I start out with some packaging tape, and I have the wide packaging tape. I think it's 2 inches maybe. And what I do here, instead of wasting the whole strip, I actually just rip it down in half and use both of those pieces. And I actually take this off camera and stick it to my shirt a couple times first so that it doesn't rip up my paper whenever I tear it back off. So I'm just going in here and creating my kind of sunburst or starburst effect here with the tape, and you can see the straight edges that I'm using are going to be where I actually place my mixed media. And I'm leaving just a little bit of room in between where I'm doing these so that I can add some paper as well to it. So I'm going to kind of do some papers and some mixed media in all of these areas. But I'll speed this up here in a little bit because I don't think you need to watch me putting all the tape down. But I do go in here and mark out my photos where they're going to go just to kind of give me a general idea just whenever I'm adding that mixed media. So there's my tape. I know it kind of looks like a Hot Mess Express right now, but you'll see in the end how it turns out, and it's actually pretty cool. So what I do here is I use the packaging tape, and I'm starting off with the Tim Holtz Distress ink in Faded Jeans, and I just kind of stamp it onto my packaging or a clear piece of acetate paper from your leftover stickers, and then I spritz it with water just a little bit and kind of blend it out with my paintbrush. And on this side over here, I am going to show you the equivalent in Oxide. So I use the ink on the right there, and then this one is the Oxide. And I think you saw me pull in my little box top there. I usually spray it inside that box just so that the overspray doesn't go onto my project. Just kind of keeps things clean for me. So there you can see the difference of the left side is the Oxide spray and the right is the ink. They're both in Faded Jeans, the same exact color, but one side is the Oxide, one side is the ink. So in case you're on the fence about which you need to buy, I buy them all because I use them all. They have different effects, and here I'm just using the same exact color, the same sheet, but I've watered it down. So that also creates a different effect because the oxides react with water. So there you can see it looks a little bit different than the one on the left. So I also kind of go in with some splatters too. And down here I'm going to put some, this one is called Tumble Glass. I'm going to go in with that on that little sunburst. And I'm going to go in and add some fossilized amber up at the top one, because I think this color matches the yellow color in that paper that I have picked out. So I'm just kind of careful that I don't drip it anywhere. And I know people mentioned, how much control I had over it. Really, the control is because of the packaging tape. Basically, what I do is I just kind of bend and curl my sheet of acetate so that I'm only touching the paper in the middles of those little sections. And it just kind of keeps it under control a little bit better for you. So I'm going to go in and add some splatters. That's Tumble Glass there, just to that one little area. And then I'm going to start on my stenciling. So I want to put some hearts down here, but I actually went in and dried this with a heat gun first off camera. But because you kind of want it to be all dry before you add your stenciling. So Here I'm using Vicki Boutin's, I think this one is just called Gold Glaze. It's the one that I've been searching for months and months and finally got my hands on it. So I am loving it. And I'm just going to scrape that on. Mine isn't too good because I'm used to using the Nuvo Embellishment Mousse, which is a lot thicker. And I'm used to kind of smushing it into my stencils to get the effect. So I kind of did the same thing with this, but really a light hand is key with the glazes from Vicki Boutin because you don't need to smush it in there or you're going to get like a little bit of overage on there. Overage, is that a word? I don't know. You know what I mean. So here I'm using some texture paste. It's just Tim Holtz Distress Opaque Matte Finish Texture Paste. It doesn't really have a color to it. But I spray the Oxide spray and actually make it colored. So that's what I did there with the grid one at the bottom. And here I'm just going in with my faded jeans through this stencil using my blending tool to get those little stars. And I store the bottom of my blending tool, the little sponge, I store those at the bottom of my stamps, my mini inks, because that just keeps them all together and then I don't have to clean them off. I'm going to do this one in some Nuvo Embellishment Mousse like I was talking about earlier. This is the one where I really have to like smush it in there because it is a lot thicker. And I'm going to show you here that you can reuse these and kind of use a masking technique and just spritz that stencil with some water and gently press on it. And then you'll get this really cool masking effect on there. So you're kind of using up anything that's left over on that stencil just for a really neat effect. So I've dried this off with my heat tool, my heat gun, and I'm going to go ahead and peel these off. Oh, it's so gorgeous. It turns out so neat. And then I've cut all my strips down here. I've cut some triangles out of my paper pad. And I'm just going to go ahead and kind of place them around here and there. I'm going to actually go in with some washi tapes as well to finish it off. And then we'll start embellishing, and I might do a little bit of stamping on this layout too. We'll see. So you can really see the shimmery effect of that Vicki Boutin gold glaze on this video. It's so pretty in person. I absolutely love it. It's my favorite glaze. I'm so glad that I finally got my hand on it. Speaking of hands, you just saw my toddler's hand come in, who's 16 months. He makes it into quite a few of my videos. He likes to hang out down here with his brother while I'm scrapping, and they play in the playroom while I scrap. So here I'm just going to map my photos on some white cardstock. This is actually some textured, I think it's textured, I don't know. It might be smooth, who knows. Yeah, this is smooth. It's smooth cardstock. So it's just white smooth cardstock. I mat it on that first, and then I mat it on this one paper from the paper pad that's blue, and it's just a super cute pattern to it. So I go ahead and mat it down on those. And I'm going to go ahead and stick all these down, but I'm going to speed this up for you so you don't have to watch me adhere all of these because you get the idea. I'm using my ATG gun as always, and if you're curious, I've been asked this before too, I get my tape refills from tapejungle.com. It's pretty much the cheapest place that I've ever found to get them. So I'm just going in here. I'm going to show you how I do some splatters in the gold glaze. So basically I just water it down just a little bit with my paintbrush and some water. And then I just flick my paintbrush on there in between those sections just to create lots of goody goldness splatters. So you can do this with pretty much any glaze that I've found. I've used it on the texture paste as well, the embellishment mousse. You can do this with the oxides, which you'll see here in a minute. You can do this with the inks. Here's the oxide. I'm going to add some splatters with my faded jeans oxide. And I don't know if I mentioned this before, but the difference between the inks and the oxides is Basically the inks are transparent. So as you can see on that section on the right at about the 3 o'clock mark there, you can see that that one is a little more transparent or translucent. You can see through it. But the one on the left, see all that shimmery goodness, isn't that gorgeous? The one on the left at about 9 o'clock there is the one I did with the Oxide, and you can't see through it. It's a chalky finish, so it's not really transparent, and it just kind of gives a different look. And the Oxides actually show up on black paper as well because of their chalky finish. So it makes a really cool effect on black paper, whereas the inks don't really show up on black paper because they're so transparent. They don't have that chalky finish like the Oxides do. So here I'm just putting my washi tapes down and arranging them kind of on top of those paper strips. And these are just washi tapes from my stash and various collections. I think Summer Cozy Days collection. I think the other ones might be Amy Tangerine, but not quite sure. I'm going to go ahead and adhere my photos down so that I can start embellishing around them. These are 2 photos of me hanging out with my toddler, which you saw his hand come in a little bit ago. And we were just having a fun day on one of my lunch breaks because I'm still working from home, and I was at that point too. And I like to enjoy my lunch breaks and take them for walks and take them to their Mimi's house, which is their grandma, my mother. And we spend all kinds of time together all day long, which I absolutely love. I wish that this work from home stuff could last forever, or at least until my kids get older. Isn't that the dream, right? But we just have a really good time, and this was a super special day. It was just a fun time together, and I love documenting all of these memories. So just using up some little bits from this collection. I used some flowers, and I put sweater weather is better together, or better weather. Sweater weather is better weather, right? Yeah. So I used that one for my title, so to speak, and then used another smaller one underneath there about the moments that matter. So I'm going to do some journaling here real quick, and I'm going to, I think I'm going to do some stamping. I'm going to pop my date stamp in here as well, and just to tell you about that real quick, I use the Project Life stamp by Becky Higgins for my date stamp. Adding that little heart right there. And I'm going to use Stayzon ink to do my stamping because I have so much mixed media on here and washi tape. I want to make sure that it's going to stay and it's actually going to stick. So I went ahead and stamped my date, and I'm going to go in with these little cute chevron stamps because I don't really want to do any stitching on this. I'm kind of feeling a bit lazy today, so I'm just going to do some stamping instead. Since she had stitching on her layout, I'm going to do stamping to make it look kind of like stitches. So just adding those cute little chevrons. I love the way that that turned out. Then I'm going to go in with these little hearts. This is from a Faith sticker sheet. Sorry about my straggly hair in the frame there. And I wish I would have actually kind of got this a little unsticky before I used it because that stamp was so sticky. Do you see how I just rubbed that on my hand a little bit on this one? That's just to get the stickiness of the stamp off because they're new, and they stick to your ink pad and they don't really want to stamp too good. So here's my finished layout, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for watching. If you need anything at all, any supplies or anything, feel free to go to paperissues.com and you can use my code for 20% off. And you can subscribe to my channel to get updates for any new videos I post. Thank you so much for watching.